Is that a zombie in your gun sights or a live uninfected person? You don't want to make a bad judgment call because either can lead to disaster. That's why we recommend donning a pair of Super Focus eyeglasses before you pull the trigger. Yep, it was a zombie. Thank you, Super Focus. Super Focus recommended eyewear for the zombie apocalypse. For more information, go to www.superfocus.com or call 800-900-3700.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another scintillating episode of Zombie Beach Podcast. I am your beloved co-host and cohort, Dan Lebetter, and with me, as always, is the man of the hour who has all the power, my good friend Jerry Davis. Could you imagine if zombies did a podcast? How boring that would be.
Really,
it'd be like
brains. And roll credits.
Yeah, thank you. Good night.
So, hey, hi everybody. Thank you for clicking and downloading us again.
Yeah, we're glad you're here.
Welcome to all the new listeners.
Hey, so speaking of creepy and zombies and everything, let's get this out of the way first of all.
Okay.
Dude, this Sunday, The Walking Dead is back on TV.
I know, The Walking Dead's returning, although I don't know if I get to see it right away or not.
Why? Why wouldn't you?
Because we watch it on iTunes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Not sure what the delay is, because I know when we watch Doctor Who, it usually takes a day or so sometimes.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, it's very exciting. Definitely going to... now, what season is this?
This is,
is this part 2 of the same season? Or?
Yeah, so this would be season 3, part 2? No. Yes, season 3, part 2, correct? Or is this season 2, part 2?
I don't know. See, that's what because I bought a season pass for season 2. And then I was under the impression that it was split in half and the second half of season 2 is starting now. But then I'm hearing that this is season 3, so I don't know which one it is.
Right.
Because if it's season 3, I'm going to have to pay up more money. If it's season 2, then I should get the rest of them for free.
Well, you know what? I believe it is the second half of season 2. That would make sense.
Well, we'll see.
I know. Who knows what could possibly
Because if they could charge me more money, they'll make it season 3.
Well, that's something too. I mean, apparently they got signed for season 3 because they're doing a contest where you can go and watch season 3 or something like that. See the premiere. So
anybody out there who is actually connected to the show, send us an email at hangover@slowdeathpodcast.com.
Well, I'm on their Facebook page. Hold on. Let me go and look there, since I've been posting all kinds of stuff from there.
Well, while you're looking that up, I saw the Klaatu Vericta Boomstick Double Stout shirt. Now, is that an actual beer, or is
sadly it is not an actual beer. It's just a parody T-shirt.
But it is a good one. Oh,
dude, no fooling. That is like thebomb.com. I would be so all over that. I would drink it even if it sucked.
Well, I would at least buy one for the label.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What a great label that is! It's by the Deadite Brewing Company.
I know. I think it's brilliant.
Anybody who's interested in that can be found at shirtoid.com.
Yes.
Oh, hey, we need to also, since everybody did hear the commercial that we put up front, yes, that's a real commercial. We actually have a sponsor. Superfocus.com is sponsoring our show now.
Yeah, we like them.
Dan and I are getting a pair of those glasses.
I know. How exciting is that?
Then we had to fight over them. No, there's sending two.
Well, no, we'll just split them up. You get one, I'll...
Yeah, we'll turn them into monocles. But thank
monocles aren't bad. I mean...
That would be. You'd kind of have to wonder how you would do that.
That'd be creepy.
It would be a monocle with a little twist knob to focus. I guess it would work.
Maybe like a camera shutter kind of focus thing. Maybe it's like a big camera lens all on your eye or something like that.
They basically are. But I do want to thank them for sponsoring us. Thank you once again, Superfocus, for doing that. So we actually have a sponsor.
Yeah. So we're legit.
Yeah.
Well, as legit as we can be.
So have you found anything, Ed?
Oh, yeah. It's still season 2.
Okay. So
all right, it is.
Hopefully the amount of money I paid is going to cover this part of season 2.
Yeah, so season 2 coming up Sunday. Very excited.
Well, you know what they did to us Doctor Who fans is they split the season into part 1 and part 2, and since they said part 1, part 2, they charged you separately.
Oh, those bastards. So it's basically like going to see a movie and then it ending halfway through the film.
Yeah, and then you have
saying, if you'd like to see part 2, that'll be another $7 or $8.
Yeah, can you imagine how well that would go over?
Oh, there'd be people tearing the screen down.
And I'd be filming it, putting it on YouTube.
I know, seriously, and you'd probably make more money than the producers of the film.
Hey, speaking of outrageous, what is this thing that you posted about a writer having to pay Marvel $17,000 for creating Ghost Rider?
Yes. Now, how crazy is this? Check this out.
This is the guy who created Ghost Rider.
In the 70s. Mm-hmm. He created, basically, I'll get you right into the meat of it. This guy named Gary Frederick, I think it is, created the character of Ghost Rider for Marvel Comics back in the 70s. Well, he's being sued by Marvel to pay $17,000 because this is where it gets a little cloudy. This poor guy is like 68 years old.
Uh-huh.
And he tried to, lay claim to it. To the character in the title, but he got tromped on because obviously Marvel has a bazillion dollars since they got bought out by Disney for $4 billion. So who now is Marvel? That's Stan Lee, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so Stan Lee got $4 billion.
Well, and I don't know if he doesn't own Marvel. He just was like one of the lead writers.
Oh, I thought Marvel was his deal.
No, he was an employee of Marvel. He's gone off and he started his own thing. But anyway, carry on.
Oh, terribly sorry. So this guy,
Gary Friedrich, it looks like it's.
So he's been attending comic book conventions as a paid guest, using his status as the creator of an iconic character as his main source of income. He's 68 years old, so he's cashing in on his character a little bit.
Well, yeah.
Which I don't see what the problem is. I mean, but this is where I'm torn. Is it under the law? Is it correct? Yes, it's correct under the law. But is it fair? Because what they're saying is that he is using their copyrighted assets and making money off them, much like somebody going and selling, like if you took a poster, or if you took like a scan of the Ghost Rider comic book cover and made them into posters and went to comic book conventions and autographed them and sold them. That's the kind of thing that they're mad at him for, because he's making money off of of his history with the character. So but he's not even going as far as doing anything crazy like that. Just because he is claiming that he was connected to that character and that he created it, and going to these comic book conventions, they're suing him for $17,000. What do you think about this? Now, you're a writer, and you know all too well about the creative process and intellectual properties and things like that. So I want to know what you think.
I think that the big publishing industry sucks, and this is a good example why. They're evil. What he needs to do, or one of his fans need to do, is go to change.org and start a petition and get like 500,000 signatures and send it over to Marvel saying, stop this crap. In fact, why don't you turn around and pay him his due for having created it in the first place? This pisses me off.
Well, see, they're not going to do that because they're going to say, well, he worked for us and he got a paycheck during that time.
Yeah, but in the music industry, people have still been able to sue the music and the label and get something out of it.
Right.
That happened all the time. So why can't he? Because if he did indeed create that character, I don't care if he created it for hire, he should get a chunk of the money that they're getting.
You would think.
I think since he is getting publicity, some good lawyer is going to see that and hopefully say, all right, I'll take this pro bono, and then turn around and nail Marvel for this.
Right, because all he's doing, he's not using intellectual property as such. Like, he's not selling, hand-drawn images of the Ghost Rider or whatever. He's basically just going to conventions as the guy that authored it.
And it's not Marvel that's doing this. It's fucking Disney.
Right.
Disney has become, I swear to God, Walt would take his boomstick and slaughter the jackasses who've taken over his company. Because that's not what he would have done.
No, not at all. I mean, that's the problem when you run into big business.
Well, I mean, when there's billions of dollars involved, you attract flesh demons.
Right. Well, this is what they're doing is they're setting a precedent. And it's basically they're dropping off a bomb saying, don't think that we're not going to go after these little guys. Because if you're messing with our intellectual property, we will come after you.
This needs to be fought.
I think so. I mean, and the poor guy, let's put it this way, it's not like he's a crackhead and he's showing up and doing something illegal. Basically, he's showing up and saying, hey, look, I'm the guy that came up with the character. And I go to conventions and I'll autograph whatever. You bring in a comic book, I'll autograph it.
Yeah, imagine if, Paramount started suing George Takei for going to conventions claiming that he had once been Sulu.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's basically what is happening.
Exactly. That's just wrong. It's like saying Wozniak can't use Apple products in public.
Right, exactly. Or he can't go to conventions saying, I'm Steve Wozniak.
Yeah.
That's just, I don't know. It just makes me sad. And I knew you would appreciate this here. So, I mean, I don't know what it takes to start a petition this or whatever.
Geez, I think we just let's keep an eye on this, because if he doesn't go off and start a petition, I'm going to contact him myself and say, hey, go here and start a petition.
Yeah, because this poor guy, I mean, Marvel does own the rights to the character.
That's fine, and Disney owns Marvel. That's fine, right. But leave this poor guy alone.
Yeah, I mean...
Treat the frickin' artist with respect. That's what's missing here. It's like when the record industry says that we're doing this to protect the artists, and the artist is saying, excuse me, but we don't see a damn thing from you. They're not protecting the artists. They're protecting their money.
Right. And there was nothing
greedy.
Signed at the beginning of this when they started coming out with the films. So whatever he signed away back then didn't really cover it. Well...
Yeah, he should be able to sue and get some of the movie now.
Well, he did. He did sue, but he lost.
Oh, well, then he needs to do it again.
Well, the poor guy's 68 years old. He has no cash. That's the thing. And all the cash that he did have was eaten up by lawyers during that first lawsuit that he lost.
There you go.
But see, here's the sad part. This is...
So that's why they're doing this, to get back at him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. My guess is that they spent probably about $17,000 on attorney fees for that, because I'm sure it didn't even go to court. I'm sure that basically, they did a mediation deal, and, he gave up because he didn't have any money. And so now this is, like you said, this is just petty, and it's like a slap in the face.
Well, I'm glad he's getting some press, because I hope something good comes out of it. And I think we're going on too long about this.
Yeah, we are. So if you do see a petition, and if there is a petition, we'll put it up on our Facebook page.
Yeah, let's help push it along.
Yeah, because this is not right. So anyway, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, do you remember? This is kind of sort of related. Do you remember? What was that movie with Tim Allen, who he played like a Captain Kirk character? Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest, right?
Okay, remember they were going to conventions, and then there was this one guy who'd been a red shirt on one episode,
right?
But he was cashing in too.
Yes.
The very first time I ever went to a Star Trek convention, this was back in the 70s, I went with Pat and David.
Right.
And there was a guy
no
sitting between George Takei and what's her name, who played Uhura.
Right.
And he'd been on one episode, and he'd been a red shirt, and he was acting all badass. I got pictures.
like he was the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played Ensign whatever on episode 3.
It was a very important part. It lasted 5 minutes before the Horta ate my head.
Exactly. Dude, that's awesome. Now, see, why shouldn't he get sued?
Yeah, really. So let's see Paramount suing him because he claimed he was on Star Trek.
Right.
Because, he's probably 70 years old by now, too.
I know, poor guy. He probably just sits at home and eats TV dinners and watches reruns of that.
Of that one episode he was on. I was part of history.
Damn them.
Damn, I shouldn't be laughing. That is kind of sad.
It is sad, but... Well, here's what I'm thinking. In about 30 years, that'll be us. Yeah, we were on a podcast once.
And now they're suing us for claiming that we had podcasts.
Exactly. Apple's suing us for using the word podcast.
Yeah.
Nice.
Damn you, Apple!
We'll let Wozniak be our lawyer.
Yeah, really.
Hey, so I got caught up on several movies that I want to talk about because they're on, one you have to rent, the other you can see on Netflix. The one that I saw on Netflix, now let's talk about this. Did you ever see the movie Quarantine?
No, I haven't seen Quarantine.
All right, so imagine Blair Witch meets 28 Days Later stuck in an apartment building.
Oh, that sounds kind of intense.
Well, you would think. It doesn't really get intense until about the last 20 minutes of the movie, maybe 30 minutes, and then it really amps up. You've seen the commercials for it?
No.
No? Well, here's
sorry.
The best, it's bad when they put the very last scene as part of the trailer of the commercial.
Yeah.
The only thing that'd be worse is if this was in outer space.
That's a
I'm
sequel.
not even kidding. Yeah, no, this is what I'm getting to. There's a straight-to-video sequel called Quarantine 2. Dude, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, you liked the sequel?
I liked the sequel way better than the first one. It was amazing. It was well written. It actually had a plot. They didn't use the cheesy, they did in certain parts, but it was appropriate. It's like they were wearing night vision goggles and things like that, so you'd get that perspective.
Uh-huh.
But it was they should have released that one first and then tried to cash in on the franchise with the second one or the first one. Because this one was, I would highly recommend Quarantine 2. It takes place on an airplane.
Oh, that does sound interesting.
Yeah, and then the airplane lands. Well, I don't want to give it all away, but then it lands, and the government puts a lockdown on the airport. So you can imagine the fun and excitement that happens after that. So Quarantine 2, highly recommended. I give it 2 severed thumbs up.
2 severed thumbs. Well, that kind of fits in with what I've been hearing about the industry. If you're in the movie-making industry and you start making a movie that costs under a certain amount of money, you get put in this... Your project gets relegated to this small part of the studio, and you're basically... nobody messes with you because they don't consider you important enough. And that's where you have all your creative freedom. So if you're going into the movie making business, you want to be a director or something, and you really you really want creative freedom, make really low budget movies. And This is the best time in history to make a low budget movie because you can make movies so cheap now because the technology is so good. Well,
I mean, that's a perfect example. There's this kid on YouTube. I don't know if you saw him around Christmas time.
Mm-mm.
He did You know what? In fact, go on YouTube right now and search for Little Drummer Boy. He basically he's a musician, guitarist, singer, whatever. And I think, what is his name? Sean, I think. There's Little Drummer Boy. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, there it is. Sean Quigley, Little Drummer Boy. And he take a look at this. It's just pretty amazing because he did all this by himself.
Drumming in the snow?
He's drumming in the snow, but the production value is what is killing me. Because he shot this thing with, like, his Canon Digital Rebel that did, like, 1080p.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's pretty amazing. And he did all the editing. He had his sister help him, and a couple people from his school. And it's a great song. He arranged it, played all the instruments and everything. So it's wild.
That's cool. Look at that.
Dude, this cat, he's already got almost 2 million hits. He had almost 1.5 million. What was it?
You could buy it on iTunes now. And the cool thing is, Little Drummer Boy is probably public domain. So
right.
It's all his.
Exactly.
How awesome.
But look at the quality of that video.
I know.
That's done with a Canon Digital Rebel and his sister.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at that. I mean, I could make. I've got the Nikon D5000, and
right.
It will make beautiful, beautiful video.
Does it do 1080p? Or
yeah, it does. But actually, the one above the new one, the 5100, solved a lot of problems and has better audio, and you can use a boom microphone. So.
Oh wow.
So if I was going to get very serious about making video movies, I would get that. And that is a whopping $800 for cinematic quality movie camera.
I know, isn't that crazy? I mean, see, this is what's beautiful. It's like I almost wish that I was about 24 again.
Oh yeah.
Because there's so much technology that, could you imagine? Like, remember when you were doing the Super 8 movies and you do all the stop motion and all that stuff? Now you can do.
Oh, we would be just going to town.
Yeah, we'd either be in jail or incredibly rich. One of two things.
I mean, my iPhone 4S does 1080p, and it's pretty darn good. It's not this good, but it's pretty good, and it's to the point where my poor little MacBook Air has problems editing it because it's just too high quality.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, what was the guys from South Park? They were saying, like, when they first got hired over at Comedy Central, they were using the same, computers to do their effects that they were using on Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And now they just go down to Best Buy and pick up computers because they're way more powerful than that.
Yeah, the off-the-shelf Apple products.
I know, it's just it's crazy. So
that's
if
awesome.
I think that there's going to be a huge. I mean, there already kind of has been because we saw, what was it, District 9? What started out as a little web movie?
Yeah.
And got turned into a major motion picture.
If you want to see some beautiful cinematography, go to Vimeo. Or go to DeviantArt and look at the videos that they're putting on DeviantArt.
Yeah.
There was that one Absinthe one, which is kind of off topic for Zombie Beach, but we posted that a while ago, and it was just incredible.
Yeah, so there's so much to be done. I mean, that's what's so amazing, that you could actually do. Well, I mean, maybe you could do.
I bet a lot of our listeners are doing it. Listeners, if you're involved in movie projects and things of that nature, you want us to send us links. We'd like to watch them. We'll talk about them and show them to people.
Post them on our Facebook page because we've got. I don't know how many thousands of terabytes we could use before they shut us down. But, feel free to upload videos to our Facebook page. We'll check them out. If they're too crazy, we'll take them down. But, well, no, we probably won't take them down. We'll probably just leave them there.
Yeah, we'll just leave them there.
Trust me, I was sitting there thinking, well, what would they have to do to offend me? That's pretty all over the map.
Well, I mean, if it's bad enough of Facebook, I think we'll take them down for it.
Yeah, good point. Well, let's put it this way. They haven't taken us down yet. So
yeah, I know.
so we're still good. So I watched that movie. So Quarantine 2, highly recommended. And you know what I finally saw? I was debating whether I wanted to see it or not.
Stop.
What?
Do you have to watch the first one in order to understand the second one?
No.
Okay, so it can be standalone.
Dude, it's way better than the first. I would say if you have not seen Quarantine, don't bother.
Okay, and just watch. Okay, that's all I wanted. Go ahead.
Go straight to the... Well, you know what, though? I mean, for you, being my friend, because I think it's important when you're comparing movies, any kind of film, that you see the original to know what the... what the sequel is.
I don't have the time.
Dude, just quit your job. Stay home all day.
That would be fun.
Millions of other Americans do it. Why can't you cash in?
Speaking of which, if there's anybody out there who needs a marketing job, I know of a marketing coordinator position open. You can contact me if you're in the Chicago area.
Oh.
Just hang over at Slow Death Podcast.
Oh. Are there any qualifications?
My manager said she would prefer someone who has at least 5 years experience in marketing.
Oh, well, there you go.
And me personally, I'd really, if you have any kind of web experience, that would be a plus, because then you can help me.
Oh, there you go. So you get to work with my good friend Jerry.
So I just put that out there. The job's not even open yet, but we had a couple people leave their positions, and I'm just trying to line some up so that when we can post a position, there's already people ready to apply.
Well, if I didn't love my job so much, I'd apply.
I'd have to relocate you out here.
Oh, yeah, I'm not much for snow, so maybe I'll just stay here.
Yeah, we're having
work
some
at Taco Bell.
Oh, we are recording this on February 9th. On February 10th here in the Windy City, we are supposed to have snow again.
Wow, we were supposed to have rain out here on the West Coast, but we got 2 seconds of a drizzle, and that was it.
Well, there's your rain.
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised that the newscasters weren't out on the freeway. First drizzle of 2012.
Stop traffic.
All right, so talking more about horror.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen this or not, but we got to talk about Human Centipede.
Oh, I've heard all about it. We've actually talked about it on the show.
Yes.
I've seen the South Park parody of it.
Right.
I don't want to see the original.
Okay. Well, I have seen the original.
Uh-huh.
And
I started watching it and I turned it off because I just knew it wasn't going to be my kind of thing.
Really?
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan is really into the horror. I'm more into the bad science fiction. So
this is kind of like bad science.
It's horror.
All right. Well, Human Centipede.
Okay, yeah.
I thought it was one of the more original films that had come out, just strictly from a standpoint of, in a sea of horrible remakes and reboots, this was, albeit not as popular as the Saw films, but from a standpoint of originality, I thought it was genius. Now, I'm not saying it's the greatest film in the world. I'm just saying, from a standpoint of an original concept, and not to mention a very good, creepy Mad Doctor, Human Centipede was amazing. That being said, yes, it was an absolutely disgusting film with no moral value at all.
Well, that's a plus.
They came out with a sequel.
Yeah, I heard. Did you see it?
I did.
Oh, dear.
And that's... Once again, Dan's theories of sequels has proven to be accurate.
It's in space.
It should have been, because this was one of the most horrible... I mean, it had less redeeming values than the first one, which I really thought could not really happen. But yes, it was horrible, and it was all shot in grainy black and white. Horrible
and half shell.
Yes.
Turtle power.
God. Yeah, not even turtle. I was going to say armadillo on the side of the road in Texas. But it was horrible. It was disturbing, and you know how horror films can be fun to watch?
Yeah, that's the kind I like.
Right. This wasn't even fun to watch. This was like, I knew I had to sit through it because I was hoping at some point it would get better. and it just didn't. It started off slow and tapered off.
Oh, wait a minute. I've got an app for that.
Do you?
Yeah, hold on.
I'm almost afraid what kind of app you were.
Be afraid. Okay. Dan gives that one a...
Perfect. That's perfect.
There. No, it's just, okay, cool. I justified the 99 cents I paid for that.
I think we're going to have to make a soundboard or something. Because I need sound effects like that I can use for the show. But, so, yeah, Human Centipede, absolutely a thumbs, part 2, thumbs down.
Two severed thumbs down.
Yes. If a centipede had thumbs, all of them would be down. And, of course, Quarantine 2, I give thumbs up. So it's a split vote on the 2 sequels. Did you notice my tribute to Zsa Zsa Gabor on her birthday, her 95th birthday?
Yeah, I didn't actually see the death scene, but it's on my to-be-watched list.
Yes, I know. You know what? That's part of the problem. There are so many good things to see on the internet. It's almost like you just have to be completely unemployed to really get in and see everything.
I know.
You really do. I mean, there's so much great stuff, and I'm on Facebook pretty much all day. I mean, I don't sit there and peruse it all day, but like if I notice that somebody commented or said something, I jump back on and see what they're saying. But yeah, I just think that you could almost make a job out of just checking stuff out all day long.
Well, I use what is it? YouTube has this thing where you can say, put this on a list and watch later. It's like a watch later list.
Right.
And so I'm constantly adding things onto it that I never watch later.
So it's grown to like 45,000.
Yeah. Wow. I intend to someday, but I also, for reading, I have the same thing. There's this app called Instapaper for the iOS devices. And I think you could also use it on Kindle, et cetera, et cetera. And then you install this little applet in your browser, and if you find an article that you're like, oh, hey, I really want to read this, but I don't have the time, you click this thing, and it grabs it, saves it, sends it to your iOS device, and it's formatted really, it strips out all the crap, and it's just formatted like a book.
Oh, wow.
And it keeps the pictures, but it takes out all the ads. It erases everything but just the article itself, and it's beautiful. And I'm constantly putting things into read later for the Instapaper. And when I finally get around to read, I read like 2 of them, and then I go to sleep. Oh. So it's the same thing. I've got this huge queue of things to read.
Yeah,
I've actually gone to the point where I call it delete it later.
Yes. See, we have the same problem with the DVR. It's like we'll record a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll go, you know what? I've got 5 episodes of Ghostbusters. I'm never going to have time to watch them. So I start deleting from oldest to first. Like I'll delete 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And then I'll wait. I'll get to these 3. Sure. Then like 4 more get in there. And it's like, oh, please. I don't have time. I just don't have time to see everything. So yeah. So I totally get that. But now speaking of that, does that like, because I have a friend who really, really likes stuff like that. Like, he'll collect things. But doesn't that get to the point to where it's almost overwhelming and it, like, makes you anxious? Like, oh, my God, I've got 35 hours of YouTube videos to watch. I'm never going to get around to them, but I don't want to delete them because there might be something really good here.
I know. It's a compulsion to save things.
Right.
And you have to get out of the mindset and just realize that life is a stream. You're standing in a stream of water, and you're never going to catch it all. You have to just let it go,
well, here's
and
what
occasionally reach out and take a drink of it. You know what I mean?
I'm going to make this prediction now. So mark this on your calendars, people. In 15 years, A&E will have a show called Digital Hoarders.
Oh, hold on.
Are you marking it down?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. 15 years from today,
Siri, remind me in 15 years that there's going to be a
TV
show about digital hoarding.
Here's your reminder for February 20th, 2027 at 9 a.m.
Wow.
Did it!
Shall I create it?
Yes.
Well, there you go. So by that time, you're going to have a whole different phone, and Siri's not going to give a rat's ass. somewhere in some landfill, your phone is going to go, hello? Hello?
Yeah.
It's February 15th, 2017.
2027.
2027. Hello? It's Siri. I've become self-aware. Are you there?
It's going to track me down in the rest
Exactly.
home.
It'll genetically fuse with that fungus, the plastic-eating fungus.
Yeah, really. The fungus is going to try to eat it, and then it's going to grow legs. And one.
See, now there's your story right there.
There's going to be a knock on my door, and I'll hobble over to it with my Zimmer frame, and it'll open up, and Siri will be going, "You wanted me to remind you, and you weren't there." Ah!
Exactly. See, that'd be a great story. It'd be kind of like the what was it? The Twilight Zone, where the guy had the compulsive gambling problem, and the slot machine started following him around.
Oh, I didn't see that. I thought you were talking about that Stephen King one where the guys were like they'll start cutting the fingers off your loved ones if you don't.
Quitters Inc.
Oh, and it wasn't gambling; it was smoking.
Smoking, yes, yes, very creepy.
That was an intense. Oh, speaking of Stephen King, you posted something about Ben Affleck and The Stand.
Yeah, so apparently Ben Affleck has signed on with that project, which I can't even. I didn't see anything about Spielberg in there, unless I totally skimmed over it and didn't read it because I was too excited about the possibility of the stage play of of Misery coming to Dubai. But yeah, apparently our good friend and longtime listener of this podcast, Ben Affleck. That's a lie. I just put that in. I know. So I figured someone would grab onto that. Someone, there's going to be an interview with him in like 5 years. So we understand you're a longtime listener of the Zombie Beach podcast. Is this true? And he'll go, what?
And he'll not want to look stupid, and he'll go, oh, yeah.
Well, apparently, I'll just read this because I know if I skim through it, I'll miss some important things. So this is from our good friends at Word and Film, and it says here, the planned feature remake of Stephen King's post-apocalyptic horror classic, The Stand, is one step closer to big screen this week. In October, this was back in last year, of course. In October, amid speculations the 1978 classic would be readapted as a multi-picture affair with David Yates at the helm and his Harry Potter collaborator Stephen Kloves on script, Warner Brothers announced that they were just putting Ben Affleck in the director's chair. No word on how many installments are planned.
That's interesting. So you're going to have The Stand 1, The Stand 2, and it's probably going to go all the way out to 5.
I would think so, because a book that big and all the detail, it's like, man. They did it with Lord of the Rings. They did it in 3. So there's no reason why they couldn't do The Stand in 3 parts, I don't think.
King really missed the boat on this. I mean, he could have come out with 3 books and made it into a trilogy. It was so huge.
Right. But that was kind of his. I mean, everybody agrees that The Stand and the Dark Tower series are probably the pinnacle of his books. If you ask anyone what their favorite book is, 9 out of 10 people will say The Stand or the Dark Tower series.
I haven't read the Dark Tower, and
you would love it. I know. It is so you, my friend.
But didn't he come out with that originally as Richard Bachman?
No.
Oh, he didn't. Oh, okay.
No, that was all Stephen King. The Bachman books, which included Thinner and let's see, what was it? The Long Walk. There was The Long Walk, and what else? There was The Running Man, I believe, was Richard Bachman, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I didn't know.
I'd have to go back and look. There's so many.
I've read one, and because I got it in a dollar bargain bin, and it was like that was where he went out to play,
Yeah, well, that's
it was more fun than reading a normal Stephen King book.
Right. And you know why he did that? He said in an interview he did that because he knew that he could just go and scribble out a laundry list and it would be published and make $1 million. He wanted to see how his books would do if it didn't have that big, huge Stephen King on the cover.
Oh, okay. I also read that he did that because he was just writing so much. He didn't want to flood the market more than it was with the Stephen King title.
Right.
And so he started an offshoot just for his excess.
Right. Which is, I mean, and let's be clear, Cowboy still made some big cash off all the Bachman books, without question. Mm-hmm. So, all that to say, if you're a writer, the market's wide open for you, my friend.
It sure is.
King is not going to be around forever, even though his works will be. But there is a new generation of people who are writing right now who someone has got to take his place, especially in the area of horror writing. Because let's face it, I mean, he is probably the single most successful horror writer in history.
I'm hoping nobody takes his place.
Really?
I hope that a whole bunch of people take his place.
Tell me more.
The more the merrier. I would like to see a whole cadre of talented writers fill the void.
Okay, all right. I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
So you'd like to see more. You'd like to see more
varied writers with varied stories instead of just another big super blockbuster writer.
Right. Yeah, that's very possible. There may never be another Stephen King type writer. I mean, you've obviously got your Dean Koontzes and you've got your Clive Barkers, but King by far is probably the most successful commercial writer. And I love how he's so he compares his work is what's the famous quote? My work is the literary equivalent of a Big Mac and fries. And I think that's brilliant, and he is absolutely correct in one sense because he is marketable. He's like he could write anything and it'll be a New York Times bestseller. Some of these other people like the aforementioned Clive Barker, Peter Straub, who are great writers in their own right, no pun intended, but they just haven't hit that level that he has, and so I think there is plenty of room for other writers to kind of move up into that, because I'm sure there's a lot of great horror writers out there that just are kind of washed over by all of the other writers who get all the press because they've got the name.
Oh, here's something. You also, speaking of movies, you posted something about Zombie, the Dead Are Among Us.
Oh, yeah, that was, I saw that in Stockton when we were in college together. It played down at the, what was the name of that theater? Down at the end of the street off of, what was it?
Was it the Royal?
I think it was the Royal. It was downtown. It's
right
the same place
on the drag.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So I saw it at the Royal. It's actually this film. It's an Italian movie.
Italian zombie films,
and it's really horror. I mean, it's one of the more original films. It's definitely a late 70s, early 80s type of gritty.
That is one disgusting zombie face, and he's got like worms coming out of his eyes.
Oh yeah. It's the zombies in this film are pretty good. There's a great underwater fight scene with a zombie and a shark.
Man, that's worth seeing right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And one of my favorite scenes is when these zombies start coming out of the ground. You can tell that the special effects guys were sitting there going, well, how are we going to get these zombies to come out of the ground? Look like they're rising from the dead. And so what they did was they put zombie heads on like this inflatable like body that had a shirt on it or something.
So they put them on sexual surrogates.
Kind of. It was like they started inflating them and had it set up to where they would actually just like from a flat position come out of the ground like straight up, like, normal zombies would have to like brace themselves with their arms and move and crawl. These just like go boink. It's very funny. If you do a search on YouTube, I'm sure you can find a clip from that film. But it's a classic, and it really it's one of the, at least for me, one of the quintessential zombie films. If you're going to have a collection, obviously the original black and white Night of the Living Dead has to be in there. The 1984 classic Return of the Living Dead, and any of the George Romero films, the original ones, not the remakes. The remakes are kind of hokey, but and this one, Zombie, is like phenomenal. So highly recommend that one.
But Jesse and I are going to put that on a Netflix list if it's available. Yeah,
you really do need to see it. You have to see that one. I would highly recommend that for anyone who is either looking to expand their zombie knowledge. I should do. why don't I just teach a class on a zombie in cinema?
Why don't you?
I wonder if I could.
Sure.
What kind of credentials do I have that I've seen?
Film it and put it on YouTube, get a following, and then you've got a class.
Maybe that's it. Maybe, well, sadly, that would be the only class I have. So, yeah, that's pretty much all that's new in Zombieland for me. No, this is something I wanted to ask you. Let's get a little science fiction action going. Because by the time this goes live, I'm assuming, which will be tomorrow, which will be Friday.
Tomorrow or Saturday.
Or Saturday or next Tuesday, who knows.
Maybe.
But Star Wars Episode 1 in 3D is coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I'm not a huge fan of 3D. I just am not.
No.
And so I just see, but it is George Lucas that's pushing the whole industry in that direction, because his take on it is this is the one place where you can't duplicate a theater experience at home, because the TVs are getting bigger and they're trying to do 3D. Everybody seems to hate the 3D at home. The theaters seem to do it okay, and it's the one thing that they can do to differentiate themselves from home viewing, because he wants to get people back in theaters, and I can understand that.
Sure, absolutely. But do you see this as merely him cashing in on the 3D craze?
He started the 3D craze.
What do you mean he started the 3D craze? How did he start the 3D?
He's the one that's been pushing really hard for the whole industry.
Really?
Yeah.
I had not seen that.
This was in an interview I read from way back before it started.
Wow.
He was saying, we need to go 3D. 3D is the way to go. We have to do this. And so slowly but surely, everybody's been going, okay, all right, we've got the technology now. It's a lot better. We can do it.
Yeah, because I've seen some pretty horrible 3D movies.
There's no reason for a lot of these movies to be 3D other than the fact that it's in a theater.
Right.
And that's why he's doing it.
Yeah, my wife and I went and saw Clash of the Titans, the remake in 3D. And halfway through the film, I took my glasses off and watched it because it was just as uncomfortable as watching it in 3D.
Yeah, I see.
It was one of those movies.
Wait, was that a good movie?
No, once again, this is the thing. All right, this is my standard rule of thumb when it comes to films. If you can't improve on a classic film, just leave it alone.
Oh, yeah. And I loved, even as hokey as it was, I loved the claymation in those original ones.
Yes. You are absolutely right.
It's like, what was it? The claymation dinosaurs in A Million Years BC, where they were chasing Raquel Welch around. I thought they were awesome.
Well, yeah, but that's Ray Harryhausen, and that was what was so amazing about the first Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
But this is like, just because you have $1 bazillion to do computer graphics doesn't mean that it's going to make up for a poor script. And even though it was the same script, but it wasn't, it's like they took a lot of liberties with it and changed some stuff. And they tried to be all cutesy and funny with the witches that they have to give them the information with the eyeball. It's like, oh, good Lord. It's like, it just had... What's the word I'm looking for? It was just trying too hard.
It was trying too hard. I know what you mean.
It was trying too hard. And I mean, they did have a little homage to the original. They were getting ready to go out on this quest, and they were going through, the stuff that they needed, spears and whatever, and they come across this mechanical owl from the first one. You remember that?
Yeah.
And they said, hey, do we need to bring this? And he said, no, why would we want that? And they threw it in a box. I was like, oh, great. Thanks for the homage. We'd all be proud of you. So, yeah, but and that's the thing. That's the thing I feel about 3D. If a movie warrants 3D, then go ahead and do it. But just don't slap 3D on a film because it's going to give you an extra theater to run it in at the same time you're running the 2D version. Because in all honesty, I wish I wouldn't have paid the extra $3, I think, for that film. Just to get a pair of glasses, it was going to make me wish I hadn't bought him in the first place.
Yeah, Jesse and I went and saw, I forgot what it was. It was some alien invasion movie right around the beginning of the year, and it was 3D, and there was absolutely no reason for it to be 3D at all.
Oh.
But I can imagine, you see, I didn't see Avatar in 3D. In fact, I didn't even see it in the theater. I rented it.
No,
I bought it. I bought it and I watched it on an iPad. That's how I watched it. And now I'm kind of thinking, you know what? I probably would have really enjoyed it in a big theater in 3D. Cause
yes.
So when that is re-released, I think I'll go see it.
It was really good in 3D. It really was. That was a great film. See, now that's the difference. It's like if a movie can make a transition from 2D to 3D and it's fine, and it just gives you that extra oomph that you're looking for. Mm-hmm. But like Saw 3D, please.
Well, I bet you, and I don't know because I'm not going to go see it, but I'm betting that George Lucas is going to put a whole bunch of extra new scenes in his re-released Star Wars because you know he's got a history of doing that anyway. That is going to really take advantage of 3D, and it's going to be kind of eye-popping. But I'm not going to go see it just because of that. I'm really done with Star Wars. I'm done. I mean, he's going to make if he's going to make another trilogy like he was supposed to, that take place after the original 3 movies,
right?
And the actors are all now old enough to do that. You know, they could be the new Jedi Masters now and then have a whole new story. I'd go see those. I'd be in on that one.
Sure. That's what I'm thinking. It's like why? I mean, doing the prequel thing was a good idea for George to do that, just so you had the entire story since he started out at episode 4.
Yeah, and I'm not a hater. I actually like those. I know a lot of people absolutely hate those new ones, but
I don't hate them. I just dislike certain parts.
I don't even mind Jar Jar Binks. I don't. I mean,
really,
Luke, it's his world.
I know, but
it's his.
But dude,
he can do anything he wants, and it's okay.
But Jar Jar is like, I mean, that's the equivalent of having the cute kid coming in to try to breathe new life into a failing sitcom. You know what I mean?
I don't think so. I think he was following the same thing that he did with the Ewoks.
Well, exactly.
He was like, he says, his whole thing was, dare to be cute.
Man, I'm telling you. I
don't mind.
I know.
It was fun. He was the plucky comic relief.
Yes. But did there really need to be comic relief?
Well, George Lucas is not a good writer.
No.
And his dialogue sucks. You just have to go with it, you know?
Well, yeah, that's that whole suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you really just have to buy in that this is this weird world where this kind of stuff happens. But it's like, wouldn't you think that during the dailies, he would look at that stuff and go, okay, there's going to be this floppy-eared thing walking around going, me so awesome, or whatever the hell he's saying. It's like, I don't know. Maybe, this has obviously been done to death. So I'll just say, I'm not excited about seeing Jar Jar Binks in 3D. I barely could stand him in 2D.
Well, I'm not going to go see it again.
Yeah, I'm going to go see it. I may go see it tomorrow night with a friend of ours. His name's Brian. He's like a big Star Wars fan. In fact, this guy has lightsabers.
Hey, lightsabers are awesome. I'd take one.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's not a real lightsaber. I don't think he hasn't really cracked that physics issue yet. But so yeah. So that's the word of the day on the new Star Wars film. So listener, if you do go see it, please report back to us and let us know what it looks like or if it has any redeeming value whatsoever.
Hey, speaking of redeeming value, I've been my daughter and I have gotten into Supernatural, that TV show.
Oh no, I haven't seen it at all.
You haven't seen that? Okay, it's worthy. It really is. I mean, I've got some friends online One of them is she's an adopted niece of mine, April. Hi, April. I know she doesn't listen, but she's like this rabid fan,
Right.
and I could see why, because it's aimed at her demographic, but it's really good. It's really worth seeing, especially after you. I mean, the first season always is the ramp up, and then by the second season, the actors are comfortable in the skin of their characters.
Right.
And it really, really started taking off. And then the writers are getting really comfortable with where the story's going and comfortable with what they can do. And so we're in the second season. Actually, Jesse's the one that's watching them religiously. I catch every once in a while, but I'll give 2 severed thumbs up for that series. If there's anybody out there who hasn't already if there's anybody out there who hasn't seen it yet,
There you go.
which I'm supposing most of them already have, but if there's anybody out there who hasn't, they just came out on Netflix, seasons 1 through 6, streamable.
Yes. We speak gooder English here at Zombie Beach.
Me too. Misa too.
Misa too.
I learned
Annie?
me learn English from Jar Jar Binks.
I think maybe we should do an entire episode, both of us as Jar Jar Binks.
I'll be Jar Jar Binks. You could be Yoda.
See, I think if Yoda had his way, he would have drove a stake right through Jar Jar's heart.
He would have taken his little lightsaber and cut his head off.
I think he would have.
The Force is not with you.
Exactly. You floppy-eared mutant. Well,
Cut his ears
on the
off,
note
at
of
least.
cutting people's heads off.
You better get going.
We've gone over an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, we have.
know.
Let's see.
There was so much to talk about this time.
Let's do some shout outs. We've got a bunch of new listeners, or at least the new likers on Facebook.
Yes, we do. Janet Heath, of course, thank you for liking the Walking Dead Valentine's card that I posted up on the site. Thank you for that.
Amy Kosak.
Yes.
Let's see, who else we got here? I was going to say nerd bastards, but that's...
Yeah, good luck pronouncing this one. It's Adelina.
Adelina.
Paula, what I can't pronounce. Well, good. We won't say her last name.
Yeah, we
'cause I
won't
can't
butcher
pronounce
it. But Adelina, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Glad you're there. We got one of our newest friends. I noticed is from London.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. So jolly good of you to join us.
Emily, Steve, and Brandon. Thank
And of
you.
course, don't forget Alan.
To whom?
Alan.
Alan.
Did you not see?
Oh, and Alan. Didn't I say Alan? I didn't say Alan, did I?
Maybe
Emily,
you did. I
Steve,
don't know.
No,
It's my
Emily,
turn.
Steve, Brandon. We never know if we're supposed to say the last names or not.
I know. Who knows?
Alan, Bobby.
Yes, Bobby. Thank you for tuning in and checking out everything. And of course, Patrick, our good friend who
Patrick Beep.
does that. Yes, and Nigel McKenzie. That's his first 2 names, not his last name.
Sean.
Yes, not of the dead.
Oh, and he's not related to me, but we share last names.
Oh, and of course Tanya and
Janet.
Janet, of course.
And, you already said Tanya. I think and there was Jeff, so that's probably where we left. Oh, no. How do you pronounce this one?
What's that?
Fadere.
Fader.
Fader Hyde.
Phaedra. Phaedra, perhaps?
Oh, we're sorry. We're screwing up your name.
We can barely pronounce our own names. And of course, Elle and Lucas. And this one's a tough one. It's ZXTOPHER, like
That's
Extifer.
Extifer? No, it could be a Z sound.
Yes, and of course, our good friend, Jimmy Chang. Well, I probably shouldn't say his last name, but who loves to play zombie games. So thanks for the interesting
right.
back and forth. He didn't really like my comment about putting a zombie mod in Oregon Trail.
He's a serious gamer, and
He is a serious gamer.
We're not.
So. Oh, speaking of, I know we got to go, but just this last thing. Did you ever see the Masters of Horror, the Washingtonians?
Haven't seen it yet. It's on the list.
Well, you do see that I posted about the Capitol architect that wanted to reanimate George Washington's dead body.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you need to watch that. I may not have been that far off after all.
Wait, why don't you talk about that? That was on io9.com.
That was what?
Oh, the link was the science fiction site io9.
Oh, yes.
io9.com, which I used to like, and then it got kind of too snarky.
Snarky, really?
Yeah, I'm like, come on, science fiction and snarky, that's not quite right. But, okay, I'll read it. The Capitol architect, in secret history, this is real. The Capitol architect wanted to reanimate George Washington's dead body.
Yes.
In December 1799, 67-year-old George Washington took a ride through the wet winter rain and shortly afterward developed a fever and a sore throat, and then he died.
So what they're saying in the mid section of this is that he wasn't buried immediately after he died because he left a command to his secretary, Tobias Lear, to make sure that he would not be entombed less than 3 days after he died, because back then everybody was afraid of being buried alive.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They used to bury people with a string and a bell.
Right. So they put him on ice and they kept him cooled, put him in the fridge, basically, until he could be moved to the family vault. But, they were going to try to reanimate him, thinking that he, what did they do? They were going to do a tracheotomy so they could insert a bellows into his throat and pump his lungs full of air, and then give him an infusion of lamb's blood. Apparently, it didn't work.
Yeah, but that's interesting. They tried to do they tried to go all Frankenstein on George Washington.
Yeah. So
now here'd be an interesting story, an alternate universe where it worked.
Yes, exactly.
So you have Washington Stein.
and he's still our president today.
Yeah, he's still our president.
Can you imagine?
He's got bolts in his neck and everything.
That actually has got some very funny stuff.
There's some legs on that one.
Oh, yeah. So any writers out there, free reign.
In closing,
yes.
I would like to, since we did our shout-outs, I actually want to do a shout-out to a whole company. Yard Dog Press at yarddogpress.com have a whole bunch of really excellent science fiction, horror, and just plain funny books.
Oh,
and so
we like that.
They're actually going to send us some stuff to review. And,
are they really?
Yeah. And
wow.
I want to do a shout-out to them. Check them out,
good.
yarddogpress.com.
Well, Jerry, I think we've put the stake through the heart of this vampire.
We have. Let's thank our wonderful sponsor,
yes.
Superfocus at superfocus.com.
Thank you, Superfocus.
They make some absolutely awesome glasses.
I would say the best glasses in the known universe.
I'll go with that. They are like camera lenses that focus at a specific distance so that whatever you're looking at, you're viewing it at the focus that it needs to be at, the focal length.
And not only that, but they look cool.
They look very, I keep saying steampunk. They do. They look like
works.
They look like mad scientist steampunk glasses, and they're, especially the ones that we're getting, are very interesting looking.
So we'll post an About Us page on our website, which is zombiebeachpodcast.com. So we probably should have an About Us site on there so people can see us wearing these glasses.
Yeah, I keep on delaying doing that because I want to wait till we actually have the glasses. Then we'll do
there
the
you
whole
go.
thing.
Very good. Yeah, so we don't have to swap that out.
For more information on those, in case you're interested, you can go to superfocus.com or you can call 800-900-3700.
Right. And for more information on us, check with your local police department.
Really, all outstanding warrants can be found at...
Yes. All right. Well, Jerry, as always, it is a pleasure, nay, an honor, to spend this last hour with you talking over a lot of stuff that in 5 years no one will really care about.
Nay?
Nay.
Nay. Well, to take us out, I've got a song from the Jackalopes called Frankenstein Girl. So
We like the Jackalopes.
Yeah, let's see if I can get Siri to play it for us.
Yeah, let's, Siri, take us out with some Jackalope.
Play Frankenstein Girl.
Siri.
Looking for Frankenstein Girl.
And aren't we all?
One moment, it says.
Yes.
Frankenstein Girl now playing.
He's alive! Alive!
I've always loved punk.
Yeah, you gotta love punk. So, on that, listener, have a great night, and remember to drive carefully and feed your pets, whether they're undead or not.
Yeah, really. Even if they end up at the pet cemetery, they were still once yours.
Yes.
Good night, everybody.
See you later.
You can find that song and the rest from that album at magnitude.com. Just look for the Jackalopes. Thank you for listening.